Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Galaxy. Tonight I'm your host, Caradres Maqall, with my co-host, Chip Washington. Say hi, Chip.
Hello, I'm Chip Washington.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are bringing more news straight to you. That's right, we're bringing your Galaxy in focus. And tonight we got a few pieces of news from you from the past week. Chip, why don't you give them a little overview of what's just happened in the past week?
Sure thing. Earlier this week, Themyscira finally reached an agreement with Senator Denton Petraeus avoiding a possible military action or lawful action against them by paying off their debt principal by having a bunch of business owners give an economic boom to their system, but they did sign a new deal in regards to their debt. So luckily, there's no violence happening there. And later on, we find that Ashlyn Duvall unfortunately did not win her bet against Senator Torval in freeing slaves. She was only able to amass about 1.2 million imperial slaves, while Senator Torval got a massive 2.4 million. So if you guys remember, Ashlyn Duvall has to now take 100 slaves, I believe, for a year at the bare minimum. And lastly, it looks like people under 40 started going to nightclubs in the Federation, and it looks like it's ruining our youngins. It's polluting their minds because it looks like there's an increase in violent crimes. Keep your kids indoors, lock them up, and make sure they're on their computer at all times to avoid any of this.
Yeah, maybe put them on that new game, what was it, the Space Sim? Yeah, kids love that.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Anyway, but it might sound like a pretty news-dry week, and we've thought that ourselves too until quite a big juicy scoop came along our way, and I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview right now. What just happened was we got news that the East India Company, the now infamous guild, created the Silk Road. Not just the Silk Road of, Earth past, but a new galactic trade route, which they're calling the Silk Road, which they have shared the trade data to with everyone. And that's why tonight we are bringing in Commander Bugs Bunny, real name unknown, and his comrades Echo and Cynair to tell us a little bit about their plans about the Silk Road and what exactly they meant by introducing it in the first place. Say hi, guys.
How you doing?
Hey,
Okay.
how you doing tonight?
Hey.
Wonderful. Alright, so we are going to start with Bugs, and I want you to introduce yourselves to us and just say, what your role is in the EIC and how that led into you creating the Silk Road.
Well, this is Bugs Bunny. My expertise is in trading, finding trade routes, maximizing profit, sharing that information with our guild members.
And that kind of led into you creating this ginormous route for across the galaxy.
Absolutely.
But what prompted you to share it with others, share it with people outside your guild?
Well, first of all, EIC, this is our expertise, trading. And basically the guild was formed with like-minded traders. We're privateering through the galactic space, sometimes with positive influences, sometimes not so positive. But we have a great base of knowledge, and we thought really this would be a great opportunity to share some of that with the community and build a better galactic awareness of who we are, EIC, and also bring the community into a common region of space, whether they're Empire, Alliance, or even Fed.
So that was your original goal, to unite people further than the bounds of federal or empirical or alliance. That was your goal, to unite people?
Well, absolutely. I mean, profit is profit. I don't think any faction will transcend the notion that profit is a bad thing. And, the more people we bring into the fold to build out a route and all serve for improvement, then we have a better. I mean, this has been traditionally throughout the history, of civilization to find trade routes and profit through even those that are in conflict.
Now, this is Echo here. I would like to point out that, we have our small little trade routes back and forth between two systems, between three systems. We've all run those systems, and we've all got bored of seeing the same three sites. We fall asleep at the keyboard, kind of idea of piloting through the dark space. But the idea of Harkening back to the days of rare runs, to the ideas of a new station, meeting new people, hailing people on comms that you've never seen before, uh, jumping in the stars and seeing new sights. The idea of that you can actually explore while trading was one of the nice things about rare trading. And someone who, like myself or Bugs, who has been trading for so long, we remember those days of adventure. And the
Yeah.
Silk Road returns the veterans of trade back to the adventure. And that was one of the goals of the Silk Road.
Now, because you guys shared all of this information with the public, that also includes other factions, like, for example, Code, Notorious Pirates, as far as I understand. Uh, Do you have any ideas as to what people should do in regard to that? Because I can foresee a lot of quote unquote traffic jams and protection rackets going on between your I'm sorry, not your, but the people who using your trade route and other pirates.
Well, sure. And that's going to happen anywhere, right? Anywhere you're going to find lucrative trade, somehow, some point, it's going to get out. At least this
Hmm.
way, by creating a common ground, a common Silk Road, we're getting lots of communities, other guilds coming behind and saying, we like this idea, we're willing to support it. So this is a common community event across different guilds. And hopefully through this alliances, we can try to provide a better, safer space. That'll never be guaranteed, ever. No matter. I mean, that's part of the adventure of trade, that there is risk.
Alright, and actually, I do remember you saying making it safer, and I do recall actually hearing people starting to fight back against the pirates on these trade routes. Can you confirm or deny whether the EIC or other groups you are allied with are actually kind of running along the trade routes alongside traders and
This
keeping them safe?
this is something myself and other combat-oriented traders who enjoy the idea of getting out of that Type 6 and getting back into something with a little bit more firepower. We enjoy actually piloting along the Silk Road, being able to know exactly what system we're jumping into next, and knowing that combat ship over there, what's he doing here? Is he someone that's actually here to cause harm to the traders, or is he someone that's actually helping out? And with that open lines of communications that EIC does have, we've actually gone and talked to several guilds and corporations that would also be benefiting from this Silk Road to keep an eye out and to also hearken to the calls of any distressed signals from traders. One of the new great corporations within FedSpace, the Merchant Marines, has backed us up heavily and has already been seen on the battlefield taking out pirates and supporting the traders in the region.
Well, mind if I interrupt, but I actually... Isn't the Merchant Marine a federal group?
Correct.
Correct. That's one of the nice things about the Silk Road is that we all, no matter whether you fly a Federation flag, an Empire flag, the Alliance, we all benefit from trade. Our cultures, our families, the politics, our planets. And the idea of cultures and money, credits coming in to these stations, everyone can get behind that. And when it comes to the Fed groups, we welcome any and all people to take up arms to defend this because this helps our families. We can fight in the other systems and we can go to war, but I think it's a good thing for all of our galaxy to have this.
Right, that's very interesting. And now, I hope you don't mind if, I kind of go against the whole purpose of the Silk Road here because you're making it sound wonderful. And it definitely is from what I've seen of it. I haven't traded myself, but I've had some friends talk to me about it. But those same friends have said that the Silk Road is already drying up, which obviously is to come with, you sharing this information with billions of people in the galaxy. And I'm just wondering, how do you feel about this trade route, which obviously originally was a moneymaker and still is? How do you feel about the opportunities now drying up?
Well, that's something we're monitoring. I mean, obviously, we're watching to see, when we talk about the galactization of economies of multiple systems, what is the impact of this and their local economies? And it's something we're closely monitoring because really, there should the stations that we put into the Silk Road were all large, very large, or huge populations. So there should be a strong economy for these. So time will tell. But there's other things that we'll be looking at. We'll be looking at, are there alternative commodities to purchase? Are there alternative stations nearby that we can adjust the route to accommodate, a flux of large trading? But when it comes down to it, supply and demand really, since this isn't an AB route where you're going back and forth, you're you're hopefully leveraging the commodities that this system produces effectively. It should at some point replenish, even with large use. But only time will tell. And time will tell us what we should do and move forward and continue having a profitable Silk Road route.
All right then, and only a few more questions left for you. And I wanted to ask. So obviously, you created the original goal was to have it unite people in the one front which everyone loves, which is money. And so far, you've said that it's really worked out. So overall, do you believe that the Silk Road has worked up to your expectations?
Yeah, I think just the fact that it's getting noticed, people are showing up and trying it out. This is something that hasn't happened in our galactic space, and this is a great opportunity to see how we can grow this. So I'm happy where it's at. Is this going to be the most profitable route? Absolutely not. We have more profitable routes. This is an idea to embrace by the community. I think is the bigger portion of this, not this is the most profitable route. And it'll be interesting to see, I wouldn't mind, flying along some Fed players that I used to shoot at, but yet we're here trading in this space and we put aside our differences for a while as we make profit moving on to the next community goal or something that we might not necessarily agree upon.
All right, all right. And my own last question is: so obviously you've got the Silk Road out now, and it's working, doing what you wanted it to. My question now is: what are your plans for the future of this Silk Road? Do you have any plans for when this route may possibly dry up completely? Do you have plans for another one? I heard you mention those higher profitable ones. Are those ever going to be? Obviously, you're not going to share the best routes, but you're gonna.
Of course not.
Are you gonna? Yeah, are you gonna keep this cycle of another Silk Road for people to go on?
Well, we'll be monitoring this. As I said, this to us is kind of a project. We want to see what happens when lots of people come through and trade and put a strain on these economies, and we'd like to see what happens. So we'll be monitoring it, and then there's a lot of great feedback from the community that we'll try to make this better. But as far as where we want to see this in the future, well, I'd like to see, possibly does a larger trade route become more resilient? Does, looking at alternatives make it resilient? Or is it possible maybe a second Silk Road? These are all things that, it's kind of organic right now because we've made some assumptions and now we need to watch, monitor, and test for those assumptions and see what we get. And this will tell us what we need to do down the road.
One thing I would like to point out before we go is that I would like to say thank you to all the players and the commanders and the commander groups that have actually signed on to agree to that the Silk Road is a no-fire zone. So far, we've had the commander group Federal Navy, the Quick Response Force, the Logan Leasterman, the Mercs of Macoon, and the Merchant Marines. And we urge you, if you're a commander in a commander group, take the moment out of your day, write to your leaders, ask them to declare the Silk Road a no-fire zone, whether you're a pirate, a trader, politician. We can all agree that this is something that needs to be done.
Hopefully, they will definitely take that to heart. Now, from my perspective and from everyone else's, I'm wondering how often will you update the Silk Road, if at all, or will you keep it the way it is and hope that the economies will replenish themselves fast enough that you don't need to?
Well, we have been monitoring the feedback from commanders, and I've actually taken some of that to heart. And I was just, as a matter of fact, today looking through different systems. But again, the goal here is it's really hard to find large stations with significant volumes of commodity to make a profitable trade. So, it's not real easy to make adjustments to make it resilient. So these things take time, but definitely looking for feedback. When we'll push out the next update, can't really tell you that. That's something we're going to just have to work through.
Understandable. Hopefully, you guys work through nice and easy and effectively, and it doesn't take up too much of your time, because you guys definitely seem to be better at it than I ever was. I'm good at pointing my lasers at something and then waiting until it doesn't exist anymore. But for an average run, how profitable do you think the Silk Road can be for an hour per hour, let's say, of running on the Silk Road?
Well, initially we were looking at it from I was looking at it a credit ton at first, and I was looking at, it probably with large stations and all that, maybe I can get lucky and get 800 to 900 credit tons because it's hard finding a route of this size. I mean, it's easy to find smaller routes and get higher numbers, but piecing them together into a long route kind of limits your options. And also, if you're looking for those that can accommodate the larger ships. So, I mean, that's some of the challenge, but this has kind of pushed up that we're able to see over 1,000 credit tons. And ultimately, if you're a fast trader, I know people have been able to easily done this under 2 hours, the whole route, but you really have to be focused and really push through these stations. You can probably get around 10,000 credit tons per hour. This is rather respectable for a trade route. But we have trade routes where we can get, obviously 20, 30, maybe 40% more. But this is a big route again. Now, the benefit of this route too is it's a large route. You can start wherever you want. There is no single point. It's a loop. And also with that, even as it's published, you can customize how you want to do that loop. You can even make smaller loops to it because there are connection points to it. So that's the idea, is it is actually flexible. And that's hopefully adds to its appeal.
That's excellent. Hopefully, I'll be able to partake at some point in the next few months. Hopefully, the economy will be good and pleasant to me as I come back from my personal trading. But I personally don't have any other questions in regards to this, and hope for the best of your profits, and hopefully I can grab a piece of that pie at some point as well.
Well, we hope you can.
Alright, so thank you very much, Commander Bugs, Commander Echo, and Commander Sena for joining us tonight, and if you guys want to, I guess, go back to your own profits.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, so again, thank you so much for being here, and may your pockets ever stay full of gold. So, good night.
Thanks for inviting us.
Take care.
Thank you.
Alright, and on to the next section of tonight. So, after the interview, that is the trade route. So, Chip, what do you think?
That sounds great. Hopefully, I will be able, like I said, to partake and make some money back that I lost a couple of days ago.
Yeah, Chip has a very bad pachinko habit, which I'm trying to get out of him by replacing it with a much more healthy one, like poker. So, on to the next section of tonight. This one is a bit more sad. It's not so much about gaining money, but it's about losing money, which my good friend here, Chip, has had some problems with, not just at the pachinko, but also with something a bit more real, a bit more powerful. Chip, tell him your sob story.
Well, I mean, you didn't have to make it sound so pathetic, but I really want to make sure everyone understands and learns that, especially for my public service announcement I put up in our latest video of Galnet News, that you should always have enough money for your insurance when buying a new ship. I worked on getting enough money for a Python for months, since November. And I finally did it. April 7th, 3301. I got the money. I bought myself a ship. I had the insurance, but I was a little overzealous in my skill, and I bought some big guns for it too. And I went off and did an assassination of a terrorist agitator. Done those a ton of times before, no big deal. He blew out my canopy. It's alright, I still had 50% hull, everything was good. Killed him, murdered him. We're good to go. But of course, like I said, blew out my canopy, so my air was indeed running out. I locked onto the closest station, which was an outpost. Hoofed it right over there. I jumped out of Super Cruise with about 23 seconds. No problem. Flicked on my throttle to get the docking permission. Got it. Boosted right up there. I'm really close. Maybe 20 meters out. I had about 6 seconds left. Get closer. 4 seconds left. I clip myself on something, and as my landing gear comes out, 2 seconds left. I right myself, get real close, about a meter away. About a meter away, I could feel the magnetic force of my landing gear attaching itself to the pad. But my oxygen ran out. I blacked out, and the automatic safety system launched me out of the cabin, and I smashed myself into the station. They gathered me up, and I don't know where my ship is now, but I did in fact lose it, and I lost it with under 24 hours of me owning it, and I cried. I cried very much, and I understand it was my fault that I did not act responsibly in regards to the insurance cost, etc. But sometimes you have to learn, and sometimes you have to learn the hard way, and sometimes you have to learn the hardest way. And that's what I did. So make sure you have insurance. Insurance,
ladies and gentlemen. That or hold your breath. But it really is a very sad story. Thank you, Chip, for sharing that from the bottom of your heart. I myself haven't had the problem, but I know it's going to happen. I'm working my own way up to the Imperial Clipper now, and I'm going to try to make sure I can hold on to that as long as I can without losing it in such a sad way. So, remember, ladies and gentlemen, your insurance, it's always going to be 5% unless you're one of the lucky bastards who managed to get a grandfathered insurance scheme. So if you got one of those, feel lucky, feel grateful. For those who don't, remember 5%, no matter what you buy, you want to have 5%, maybe even another 10% on top, because each one of those is another time that the insurance company will give you your ship back. Maybe not the same one, maybe not with the same little tweaks that you put into it, but neat, goddamn near as they can get, and you're gonna feel grateful that you don't have to pay a whole bucket of millions over again to them. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is what you have to remember for the future.
Yes, it's very depressing seeing your current assets go from 70 million credits to 1.2. And and I definitely won't have enough time to get all my money back and buy another ship in quite some time rather.
And that's why me and Chip are going to go out drinking later tonight. So he gets to forget all that, and he gets to tell me about more of his weird Fargoid conspiracy theories. Tell me more of them, Chip.
They're coming back.
They're coming back.
I'm telling you. I'm telling
really?
you. I'm telling you.
Should I be wearing my tinfoil hat right now?
Excuse me, sir. We have upgraded since the tinfoil hats. We now have custom-made. I forgot what my research team called it. It's a new material.
Really?
Yes, it's very, you can rip it, but it's very good. You can write on it. It's made out of trees, actually, so it lasts quite some time, I think.
Oh, wow. What is the name of this magical compound?
I think it's called paper. I think that's what it is. I'm not exactly sure.
All right. I haven't heard of it myself, but wow. I can bet that's really, really going to be helpful. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Galaxy Tonight. I'm Caradres Maqall, your host, and this is Chip Washington, your resident psychopath and possible lunatic.
I resent that. I have a degree in psychology.
A degree in psychology, and I have a theoretical degree in physics. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us tonight for Galaxy Tonight, keeping your galaxy in focus. And so, as I say again, please, take care of yourselves and have a good night.